Alright, it's skewed black border time. Jumping straight into it, we have to turn auto start on for the first round for a reason that I probably won't explain because it takes too long. And we place a dart and a sniper, and we are going to have to micro the sniper throughout many of the first rounds. So just be careful and do what I do. On round 7, auto start's going to go off, and then as soon as the round starts, we can turn it back on. And then we're going to have to get another sniper on round 8. I recommend letting the round wait out so the gear moves and stops, so you can place the sniper, so you can get more accurate placements, which will come in handy later. And then these rounds are just going to play out, and a little bit later on 11, 12, and 13, we're going to have to do more sniper micro. It's not very hard, and there are no RNG rounds with this strategy, so you just have to be careful, and you might also want to practice it in Challenge Editor before you do it in a real game if you're not very good with it. As the early game rounds go out, we will just place down more snipers to get through, and then we're going to play Psy a bit later, but I'm going to talk about something pretty interesting. So this strategy is not going to use Apache Prime, but instead it's going to use a lot of snipers, and we're going to have the elite sniper, which will buff all other snipers, and we're going to have a couple of main mobs and a couple of bouncing bullets to do the chunk of the damage. And then we're also going to have Psy and Spike Storms to help clean up the rest of the Bloons. So I got the idea for this after watching a video by someone named GodMathPie, and I will link his channel in the first pinned comment, but basically he used a lot of snipers with Pat Fusty, so I decided to try it out, but I cleaned it up and made a little bit more synergy by having the snipers do the bulk of the damage, and I have another hero and Spike Storms to clean up. So this works a little bit better, but you should still go over to his channel and watch his videos because it's pretty cool. Anyways, moving on, we just play Psy. Psy always stays on strong, so make sure you have that. And then we're going to keep on moving with more snipers. And we later place a dart monkey. The dart monkey I placed in this recording was placed a little late, so make sure you place it a little earlier. But we are going to have to get our block of 6 snipers first, and this will roll right through the early game. Spamming snipers is surprisingly good, and it's something that a lot of people don't do, but a lot of people should do. On 21, I mean to place 2 darts, but I only place 1 at the start. So I'm going to place one about now, and just place this one earlier. It will make it a little less close with those reds there. And that dart at first was on last, but now after he's not in the front, we change him back to first. And we are going to be getting heli here soon. And then we're also after going to get the heli, we upgrade one sniper to 100 so it can kill the leads. And after we get heli, it's basically free. We're going to be getting it on 27 and the 100 sniper on 28. So for this heli placement, I just try to place them as low as possible and kind of in line with the middle of that bar that it's going right through. And we won't be microing it for long, and there really is no hard heli micro because we're just going to be buying Pursuit here anyways. But on 27, you might need to pull it back. So there we have Pursuit, and we're just going to be keeping this guy in Pursuit the whole time. It's going to become a downdraft heli to blow back ceramics, because these guys don't really clean up all the ceramics, so this is kind of necessary. So that will play out, and then we're going to be getting a wall of fire soon. And the great thing about wall of fire now is that it's going to be targeting close, so there is no RNG with it. Well, there still is a little bit, but it's not very impactful to the strategy. So we get it right here. This is going to help round 36. And also, if the wall of fire is late on placing and a bunch of balloons do slip through, you can use your stun ability on Psy if it gets close to the end. That's always an option, but I did not need it there. And now we're going to be continuing on upgrading this sniper, the 100, and we're going to bring it all the way to 302. And this will beat round 40 just fine. We just stun the mob, and Psy and the deadly precision cleans up. Now, after round 40, we're going to get downdraft immediately, because there are going to be a lot of balloons, and we don't have very high pierce towers. So this is going to keep everything at bay. And now we're going to start working on the villages, and we're going to have the top sniper, the one that is the 302 right now, that will become a 402 main mob, and we're going to have one underneath it that will become a 250 elite sniper, so it will buff everything. And also, you see there, I kind of messed up. I was trying to bring the village over, and it definitely did not place in the right place, so make sure you don't place it in the wrong place. The placements for the village is pretty important, and we get discounts before buying the other upgrades. We are going to need to do that because the money is going to be a little tight affording the elite sniper going into round 63. But anyways, we're going to work on upgrading this guy now. We're also going to out buff him just so we can do the save up. And then later on, we're going to buy a 030 Moab Mauler and set him on strong, just to help out with these rounds where the mobs are going to get a little tight, like round 57. And then also on round 60, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to stun the insides of the BFB with Psy. Sometimes you don't need it, but sometimes you do need it, and it's definitely safe to do it no matter. We are just about to buy the elite sniper, and we're going to take him off elite, set him to first. Elite targeting is really bad, just don't use it. So he's going to be on first, the main mobs are going to be on strong, and all the other bouncing bullets will be on first. But a lot of people might be asking, why are we using the elite sniper if it literally is a cash generating tower, and you can't generate cash in Chimps? And well, the reason why I'm using it is because it's more than just a cash generating tower, and it's actually really good for its properties outside of that, to the point where it's actually good in Chimps, and you'll see that from this run. He's going to buff all the other snipers, and the elite sniper has amazing pierce, like really, really high pierce. And you can see that when he destroys round 63. And then something else that the elite sniper has is that it has a bouncing bullet that now will target itself from recent buffs. So basically, he's going to be shooting his shot, which has a lot of pierce, and then that shot bounces again, but the bounce can target back. So it's really good with cleaning up, and if you just have a few of these guys and a downdraft heli, you'll clean up pretty much all of the ceramics and Moabs. So we're going to see that later, and although we are going to need a little bit of support to clean up some of the mobs on the bigger round, this guy does an amazing job, and you'll see that in the 80s. Sometimes the balloons don't even get to the bend in the 80s, and right now we're just cruising along, and we'll be cruising along all the way until around 90, just upgrading when we have the money. So watch out for the upgrades. The snipers that I'm upgrading are 230, and the May mobs will be 420. And then we're also getting alchemists 401. And be careful with the placement, because I will place another sniper kind of under the alchemist, another 420. So be careful with the placements, and be careful with the placements in general. This is not a map really to mess around with, and good luck. I'll see you later. So now I'm going to buy a cryo cannon or a 023 ice on each side. And this is just to help with some ceramics, because sometimes ceramics can get through, and these guys are really good at stopping them. So we got that, we're good. And now we're getting some spike storms. And basically, for size ability and the spike storm ability, you want to use them when stuff is getting through. So all the mobs and BFBs will be held. The snipers will hold them and they won't even get through. But a lot of times you'll have a rush of mobs or a rush of ceramics get through. So if that happens, you just pop a spike storm, or you pop size psionic scream ability, and all of those balloons will get deleted or blown right back, and then that will allow the snipers to get a hold of the game again. So we want to make sure we do that, and this will make it easy. So for example, here on 92, these guys are getting close, so I think I use one ability. Yes, I use a spike storm, and that, you can see that took out all the mobs, and the snipers can get a hold of what they're doing again. So you can kind of base it off what I'm doing, but I would not really recommend that, because you can get your specific scenarios. So I would recommend use your mental judgment on this, but it's not that bad. The only round that gets close is round 100, and I'll go back there. Alright, so for round 100, you're going to have to make sure you only use one Spike Storm ability on 99 at most, because we are going to need a good chunk of Spike Storms in this round and we'll get a little close. So basically, we're going to alch buff those Spike Storms, and we're just going to be hitting them off as often as possible to get in the most damage. And when the bad pops, you see it will pop pretty late, but don't worry because there's 3 main mobs. Everything on the inside will get locked, and when it opens up, you want to make sure you use Psionic Scream to instantly eat the BFBs, and you don't want to wait until it becomes mobs, because when it becomes mobs, all the main mobs can't hold it. So use it when BFBs show, and that will get your black border just fine. So let me know if this worked for you, and if you're going to try this strategy out later. Goodbye.